Sea Adventure. One summer day, Berry the Snail and Dolly the Ladybird found a colourful storybook. It was packed with pretty pictures of the sea swimming with fishes and crabs. And there was another strange animal that Berry had never seen. It's called an octopus, but I've never seen a real one either. Why don't we go to the sea? Berry asked excitedly. But we don't know where the sea is, Berry. I know, let's ask Dr. Owl. He knows everything. Do you know how to get to the sea, Dr. Owl?
You need to build a boat and sail down the stream. The stream will take you to the river, and the river flows right into the sea.
Berry and Dolly thanked Dr. Owl for his advice and got to work right away. The 3 owl chicks happily helped them build their boat. The 2 friends jumped in, and the stream carried them all the way to the sea. Hooray! We're going to see the sea! The wind blew their boat down the stream and then the river. It wasn't long before the vast blue sea was right in front of them. We're here! Yelled Berry. He pulled the boat to the shore and tied it to a palm tree. Come on, Dolly, let's dive to the bottom of the sea. The 2 friends saw all kinds of incredible creatures under the sea. They spotted a big crab and followed it to the surface. Excuse me, can you tell us where we can find a real octopus? Asked Dolly. Hold on to my pincers and I'll show you the little island where the octopus likes to sunbathe. The crab helped them to the island and swam away. The octopus was much bigger than they'd imagined, and it frightened them. Berry and Dolly hid behind a big rock. Then the octopus had a good idea. It picked up some pebbles and started to juggle them with its 8 tentacles. The little ladybird and the snail crept out from behind the rock.
Come over here, the octopus said. I'll show you the prettiest pebbles on my island.
Berry and Dolly quickly made friends with the octopus, and they all had so much fun. It's time for us to go, said Dolly. Goodbye, it was very nice to meet you.
Bye-bye,
replied the octopus, and gave them both a shiny pebble each. Berry and Dolly got into the boat and tried to paddle away, but it was too hard. Oh dear, Berry, we won't be able to manage. We'll have to get out of the boat. Dolly was really scared. See, Berry, I told you we shouldn't have sailed so far from home. I think you're right, Dolly. But then the stone started to move.
Why are you so sad, little snail?
The stone asked. This made Berry laugh. It wasn't a stone after all. It was a turtle.
My friends, the rainbow fish, are about to begin their long journey. They'll swim up the stream all the way to the source. I'm sure they'd be happy to take you with them.
Berry and Dolly said goodbye to the turtle and sat on the back of the captain fish. Then they all set off on their way home. By the time it was getting dark, the fish had reached the clearing where the ladybird's spotty house stood. Berry and Dolly thanked the fish for their help, and they swam away. See, Dolly, all's well that ends well, the little snail said wisely. Bubble has hiccups. One fine day in autumn, Berry, Dolly, Balthazar, Flutter, Stanley and Bubble set off on a walk to the waterfall. Bubble suddenly started to hiccup. Balthazar offered him his water bottle.
Have a drink of water. That'll stop it.
Bubble took a couple of gulps, but his hiccups still didn't stop. Have a bite to eat, Dolly told him. That'll stop it. Bubble bit into his bread roll, but his hiccups still didn't stop. Hold your breath for a while. That'll stop it, Flutter advised. Bubble held his breath for a long while, but his hiccups still didn't stop. In the end, Stanley came up with a plan to make Bubble jump. He hurried off and hid behind a big tree. Just as Bubble was walking past, he jumped out with a shout from behind the tree and gave the flower beetle a fright. In fact, he was so shocked he fell over. And his hiccups stopped. But now Bubble was cross with Stanley.
That was a very mean thing to do. I don't jump out at you from behind trees.
I only wanted to help. I stopped your hiccups.
I still don't like it when people make me jump,
Bubble grumbled. All right, I won't help you next time, the stag beetle shouted back. They all carried on their way and soon arrived at the waterfall.
It looks so lovely,
Bubble shouted, and he ran so fast towards the waterfall that he slipped right in. Stanley caught him by the arms at the very last minute and pulled him out of the water.
Thank you,
Bubble snivelled.
I'm sorry I got so cross.
We need to get home as quickly as we can because Bubble is soaked to the skin. He could catch a chill, Dolly said with concern. They then all heard thunderous footsteps from behind the trees and an enormous lizard appeared right before them.
Don't be afraid of me,
he said.
Which way are you going? I'll happily give you a ride on my back.
The forest friends were delighted by the idea and happily hopped onto the lizard's back. And as they made their way back home, Bubble slowly started to hiccup again. I'm definitely not going to make you jump again. Hiccups can stop just as easily on their own. That's exactly what happened. By the time the lizard arrived back at Bubble's house, his hiccups had completely stopped. The little beetle said goodbye to all his pals. After Bubble, the lizard took Stanley and Balthazar to their houses. The stag beetle and the bumblebee thanked him for the ride and waved him happily on his way. Soon after that, they arrived at Dolly's house, where the ladybird girl said goodbye to her friends and hopped off the lizard's back, shortly followed by Berry. Flutter was now the final passenger, and it was getting dark by the time the lizard delivered her back home. Thanks so much for all your help, lizard, Flutter said, before stepping into her house, where she went straight to bed.
July. Alfonso's Ice Lollies. One warm summer day, Alfonso the cricket invited Bubble the flower beetle, Berry the snail boy, and Dolly the ladybird girl to his house for the afternoon. Let's make ice lollies, he suggested. But what from? And how? Asked Bubble. It's very simple. We just squash a little fruit and put it in paper cups. Then we put sticks in to make ice lollies. Then we pop the cups into the freezer and wait until they're frozen. Then we pull them out of the cups and they're finished. So they made the puree, filled the cups and put them in the freezer.
We can play memory while they're freezing. I brought my memory cards with me,
said Bubble. The cards were circular with pictures of all kinds of fruit on them. There were 2 of each, and the game was to find the matching card. Dolly realised that Bubble kept winning.
Oh, Bubble, you're cheating. You've marked the cards. No, I haven't.
Yes, you have, the Ladybird girl barked.
Okay, yes, I marked the cards, but I don't like losing,
said the little flower beetle, and he burst into tears.
I don't like losing either,
Berry added. I've got an idea, the cricket announced. What if we think up a game where we don't play against each other, but together, like a team? Berry also had an idea.
Not long ago, Eddie, Balthazar, Morris and I decided to catch a train. We ran after it, but Morris was too slow, and we decided that none of us would travel on the train. Why are you saying that?
Bubble asked.
Because we could make a good game out of that,
Berry explained.
The idea is that all 4 players have to arrive at the train before the train driver. If the train driver is quicker, you lose the game because the train is left without you. That's a super idea. Let's make a dice,
said Dolly, and she painted dots on a wooden building block. Alfonso found 5 coloured stones from his pebble collection. These will be the counters, he proudly announced. Then he produced a piece of paper and they drew 5 paths, the train and the players' houses.
Alfonso can start from the orange dot, Dolly from the red, and me from the blue, and Bubble from the yellow,
Berry explained.
And the engine driver can start from the green dot,
Bubble decided.
Let's start!
The engine driver was very nearly there when the last of the 4 players arrived at the platform.
Yes, we won!
Bubble shouted out. It's time we checked on the ice lollies, the cricket interrupted. Alfonso was right, and the ice lollies were frozen. They all enjoyed their ice-cold treats. Come on, let's go for a swim, said Alfonso when they had all eaten their lollies. They were soon joined by a visitor as the rainbow fish swam past them. Berry and Dolly asked their fishy friend to let them jump off its back into the water, and it happily joined in the fun. Then the friends spent the rest of the summer afternoon splashing around until they got tired and it was time to go home.
Spring Sports Day. Berry, Dolly, Flutter and Balthazar were sitting by the lake, throwing pebbles into the water. Berry hit a floating log a couple of times, and his friends clapped.
Come down to the meadow now. The Spring Sports Day is about to start,
Stanley told them all. Their forest friends had already gathered in the meadow. The little beetles all put their running shorts on and stood in line. They all ran as fast as they could. They had to run 3 times around the meadow.
It's not fair. Eddie cheated. He cut the corner.
Leapy the grasshopper shouted.
There's to be no cheating. Let's start the competition again, but no cheating.
Stanley came first, Leapy came second, and Balthazar came third. Berry finished last. Balthazar and Eddie started whispering.
He's as slow as his snail.
Don't make fun of him. It's not nice, Dolly said angrily.
Now it's time for the high jump. The one who can pick the highest apple is the winner,
Alfonso said. The friends took a run and tried to jump as high as possible. Leapy got the highest apple, Flutter got the second one, and Eddie the potato beetle grabbed the third apple. No matter how hard Berry tried, he couldn't even reach the lowest apple. I can't do it. I just can't do it, he sulked. Come on, Berry. You'll be better at the next race. Don't be sad, Rosita said. But Berry was too nervous to join the rolling race because he was frightened he'd crack his shell. The others all lined up and rolled from one end of the meadow to the other. Dolly was the fastest and she won.
Now let's start flying, Alfonso said. The fastest to fly to the top of this tree and get a pine cone from there is the winner.
The beetles started immediately. Flutter, Balthazar, Dolly and Zephyr all joined the race. Flutter was the fastest and got to the top of the tree first. I can't fly either, Berry snivelled. Don't be so angry, Berry. It's time for the skipping competition now. The fastest skipper wins. The 4 contestants started skipping. But suddenly, Berry got tangled in the rope and hurt himself. The others were worried and ran over to him. I'm not doing any more silly races. I can't do anything. I'm going home. We have to think of something. We have to cheer Berry up, Dolly said. You're right. What's he really good at? Rosita asked. I know, Flutter shouted. Throwing! That's a super idea, Balthazar agreed. Berry was the only one who could hit the log in the lake. They made 5 piles. The first one was made out of apples, the second of horse chestnuts, the third of pine cones, the fourth out of hazelnuts, and the 5th one out of pears. Dolly convinced Berry to come back to the meadow. It's time for the throwing competition. Do you want to join in? Rosita asked. Hooray! Throwing? Of course I'm in. Everybody had a go, but Berry was the best. He was the only one who managed to knock over all 5 piles.
You see, Berry, I'm the best runner. Leapy's the best high jumper, Flutter's the best at flying, Dolly at rolling, Rosita can skip the fastest, and you're the best thrower. Everybody's good at something, Stanley explained. Berry got a beautiful shiny chestnut engraved by Alfonso, which said throwing, first place. Pebbles. One sunny summer afternoon, Dolly decided to cook a strawberry cake. She asked Stanley the stag beetle and Balthazar the bee to go and collect wild strawberries in the forest. The 2 boys set off. Balthazar soon spotted a pebble in the middle of the path, and he started to kick it along. But Stanley also liked the look of the pebble, and he tackled it off Balthazar. That's not fair, Stanley. I found it. I want to kick it down the path. It's my pebble now. Find another pebble to kick. But I found it, so it's mine, Balthazar moaned. There are loads of pebbles. Find another one, Stanley said, trying to close the argument. But Balthazar wouldn't leave it at that. He pushed Stanley out of the way so that he could kick the pebble. The 2 of them continued to push and shove until they both tumbled down the hill into the babbling brook. Alfonso the cricket came out of his house to see what all the noise was about. What's going on?
He asked. It's all Stanley's fault. He took my pebble.
It wasn't your pebble. I was just a better kicker. That's enough of that, Alfonso interrupted. Come inside, get dry, and then tell me all about what started this silly argument.
The 2 boys muttered to themselves as they followed the cricket into his little house. They hung their wet clothes out in the hot sun and sat wrapped in towels while they waited for them to dry. Alfonso gave them both a glass of lemonade and a biscuit. The sun's warm rays soon dried the clothes. Stanley and Balthazar munched sulkily on their biscuits. They told Alfonso all about what had happened and how they had rolled down the hill into the brook.
I've got a whole collection of pebbles.
Pebbles? Can we have a look? Balthazar enthused.
Of course.
Alfonso said with a proud smile, and he placed a large box on the table. Where did you find all these lovely pebbles? Stanley asked.
Down by the brook. You can collect some too if you like.
They filled their baskets with pebbles. They sat sorting them and organising them until it started to get dark. The little stag beetle and the bee boy said goodbye to their cricket friend and started to walk back up the hill. They soon came to Dolly's house. The little ladybird girl shouted angrily out of the window. Where are the strawberries?
Oh dear.
The strawberries?
We forgot the strawberries.
Dolly, look at the lovely pebbles we collected with Alfonso. What am I supposed to do with them? Make pebble cakes? I asked for strawberries.
But we forgot,
Stanley admitted, and he told her the whole long story. Well, I see. Let me have a look at those pebbles, if you didn't bring any strawberries. We should paint something on them. This one looks just like a little house. And this one, I might paint a smiley face on it. That's a super idea. We can invite the others and spend all day painting pebbles.
Great.
The next morning, Berry the little snail boy arrived at Dolly's house with Flutter the butterfly, Zephyr the dragonfly, Leapy the grasshopper, Eddie the potato beetle and Bubble the baby beetle. Where are Stanley and Balthazar? Berry asked with a disappointed sigh. Here we are, the stag beetle and the bee boy announced, and they proudly presented Dolly with a big basket of strawberries. Oh, thank you, the little ladybird girl said, and she mixed the cake while the others got to work painting the pebbles. When they had finished, they invited Alfonso to come and see their exhibition.
They all look really good. I'll bring my pebbles tomorrow and we can paint them too,
the cricket told his friends. When the strawberry cake was ready, they all sat around the table and ate every last crumb. Seashells. Zephyr the dragonfly and Leapy the grasshopper girl were collecting pebbles down by the stream. Dr. Owl flew down to join them.
I'm going to see Bubble. He's got a sore throat,
he said and hurried on. But soon after that, he tripped on a tree root and fell over. His doctor's bag flew open and everything fell out onto the ground. Leapy and Zephyr helped to gather up all of his things. As well as medical instruments, they found all kinds of strange things.
They were presents from my patients. You shouldn't keep such beautiful treasures in your doctor's bag. You're right. I'll look for a small box, the old owl nodded. But I've got to hurry because Bubble is waiting for me.
Bye-bye, Dr. Owl, the girls shouted after him. Zephyr and Leapy were strolling home when they saw the robin outside Dolly's house. The red bird was just saying goodbye to the ladybird girl. I have to go now. It's a long flight to the seaside. Are you going to the seaside?
Can we go with you too?
Asked Zephyr and Leapy with glee. I'd be happy to take you, the bird replied. They could clearly see the whole forest from high in the sky, as well as the lake and all the little houses. They flew for a very long time until they reached the endless blue of the salty sea.
Thank you for your help, Robin.
and the friends ran quickly to the sandy beach. They collected super seashells and could hardly decide which ones they liked the best.
Look, this one's beautiful too. I'll put it in the bag,
said Leapy as the treasures began to collect in the little bag. Just then the crab appeared and walked straight through the sand-coloured bag, smashing their carefully collected pile of seashells into little pieces. Oh, the shells! She nervously tipped the contents of the bag out onto the sand, but not one single shell was still intact. Don't be sad. The best shells are never on the beach, but deep down at the bottom of the sea. I'll bring you much more beautiful seashells. The girls liked the sound of this. The crab jumped quickly into the sea and very soon reappeared with a collection of fabulous seashells. He kept doing this until the bag was completely full. They're beautiful seashells, Crab, thank you.
It's time for us to go home. We have to find the robin.
But the robin had no intention of going home. Not until the spring, she said sulkily. Then how will we get home again? The girls asked. By turtle! Come on! I'll give you a ride, said a voice from the waves. So Leapy and Zephyr travelled home on the turtle's back. When they arrived back home, they thanked the turtle for his help and said goodbye. The next day, Leapy and Zephyr showed Berry and Dolly all the lovely seashells they had collected. Let's make something out of them, Berry suggested. That's a super idea, but what? Asked Zephyr.
Oh, I know. Let's make a box for Dr. Owl's treasures,
Leapy said, and they all got hard to work. The old owl was very pleased with the box, and he carefully placed his collection of special things inside. A pebble, a pine cone, a conker, a pressed flower, a pencil, some drawings, and a wooden horse. The Yellow Ladybird. The spring had come at last. Dolly decided it was time to tidy up her flower garden. She got her spade and a rake and tied a pretty dotted scarf around her head. She had only just stepped outside when she heard someone groaning behind her house. "Christopher, your wing looks broken," the little ladybird exclaimed. "The sun shone in my eyes and I flew straight into a tree. I really hurt myself," the canary said. Just then, Berry the snail and Stanley the stag beetle arrived. "Stanley, please go and get Dr. Owl. Christopher's wing's broken," Dolly said, taking control. Dr. Owl soon arrived.
It looks like a very bad break,"
he said seriously. Then carefully and slowly he bandaged Christopher's broken wing. "You know, Dolly," Christopher said one day, "there's a little ladybird living on the island I come from." "Really? Is she red with black dots like me?" Dolly asked excitedly. "And what's her name?" "She's called Katie. Her back isn't red, it's yellow, but her dots are black like yours. She looks a lot like you. Why don't you come to meet her when my wing's better?" "That sounds like a super idea. Can Berry come too?" "Of course he can. There's enough room for both of you on my back." A few days later, Dr. Owl came to visit the injured canary. He was happy to say that Christopher's wing was as good as new. The canary thanked the owl for his help, put Berry and Dolly on his back, and headed for his island home. They soon found themselves flying over a large lake with a little island in the middle of the water. "Can you see it? We're flying to that island. My nest is on top of the highest tree," Hold on tight, we're coming in to land. Christopher landed perfectly, and Berry and Dolly climbed down. You can't catch me, shouted a bright beetle in an orange dress. She was talking to the tiny fleas running after her. Watch out, Dolly shouted, but the girl beetle ran right into her. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to knock you over. My name's Katie. Who are you? Oh, you're Katie. We're here to see you. My name's Dolly, and I've come a long way to meet my ladybird cousin. Ladybird cousin? Katie asked with a puzzled smile. Yes, you've got black dots just like me, except you're yellow instead of red. Wow, you're right, the yellow ladybird said. Come with me and I'll show you my house, Katie said. As soon as they saw Katie's house, Berry and Dolly started to laugh. My house looks exactly like this, but mine's red. Berry, Dolly and Katie took a long walk around the island. There's the pine forest with the little stream running next to it. We built the bridge ourselves, Katie explained with pride. And what's that in the middle of the meadow? Berry asked. It looks like a slide. That's right. It's a special flower slide. Come with me. I'll show you. Can I have a go? Of course you can. Follow me, Katie said and slid down on the curvy slide. Berry, Dolly and Katie slid down the slide again and again until it started to get dark. It's getting late. Come on, you two, I'll take you home, Christopher said. Dolly and Katie swapped headscarves as a parting present. Have a safe trip home, Katie told them. Do visit me again sometime. It was getting very late by the time Christopher arrived at Dolly's dotty house. The moon shone and the sky was full of sparkling stars. Blueberries. One sunny autumn day, Berry and Dolly went into the forest to pick blueberries. Their friends Flutter the butterfly and Eddie the potato beetle went with them. I'm going to pick the most blueberries, Eddie announced. Look, this bush is full of ripe blueberries, the little snail said. I'm going to pick them all. But Eddie jumped in front of Berry and quickly picked the biggest berries. This bush is full of berries too, Dolly told the others. But the little potato beetle was faster again. By the time Dolly got to the bush, he'd already picked the best of the berries. Eddie, that's not fair. Don't pick all the berries, the little ladybird complained. Then the friends came to a stream. Let's build a bridge over the stream, Flutter suggested. And I know exactly how. Let's all go and bring that big log here. They had to work hard to pull the heavy log over the stream. The little friends made a super bridge together. It's done, Flutter sighed. Look, there's another blueberry bush with lots of berries on it. That was Eddie's cue. I'm going to get there first. Those blueberries are all mine, he shouted triumphantly. But he pushed past Flutter so hard that she slipped and fell into the stream. Help! Don't worry, Flutter. Hold on to me, Dolly shouted and stretched her hand out to the floundering butterfly. But the water flowed too fast and Flutter couldn't reach Dolly. Berry picked up a long stick. Grab the stick, Flutter, he shouted. But this didn't work either, because the river started to carry the little butterfly away. Eddie, help! We've got to pull poor Flutter out of the water, Dolly yelled, and they pulled the soggy butterfly out of the stream. Oh my, I'm so cold. I'm very, very cold. And my little wings are soaked through. Here, take my jumper. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry, Flutter, Eddie said. That's very nice of you, Dolly said, but you'll catch a cold too without your jumper. We should collect a large pile of leaves and wrap Flutter up in them. Berry, Dolly and Eddie gathered a big bunch of burdock leaves and covered the shivering butterfly with them. I'm still very cold and my wings don't work. Look, they're all wet and ruined. Flutter started to sob. The sun took pity on the weeping butterfly and came down close to warm her wings. Flutter's wings were soon beautifully dry and as good as new. Hooray! I'm all dry and warm at last. Thank you, sun, Flutter said with a smile. I'm so sorry, Flutter, Eddie said. I promise I won't pick all the blueberries next time. I want you to have all the ones that I've picked. Thank you, Eddie. Why don't we share them instead? Let's hurry home and bake a blueberry pie. The friends all walked back to Flutter's house and got to work straight away. They picked all the leaves off and gave the blueberries a good wash. Spoons stirred and pans clattered until the kitchen was filled with the sweet smell of delicious blueberry pie. The yummy dessert was soon ready. Stanley the stag beetle, Balthazar the bee and Bubble the baby beetle came along to join the feast. The forest friends all sat around the table and chatted late into the night.
May, the Runaway Raft. It was a sunny day in May, and Stanley the stag beetle and Balthazar the bee were sitting quietly on the riverbank. Stanley started to build a little raft from the twigs he found by the waterside. He tied the twigs together with long blades of grass and finished it with a sail made from a leaf.
Look, it's ready,
he said as he proudly showed it to Balthazar.
Let's put it on the water. Let's see how it sails,
the bee boy suggested.
Let's follow it,
Balthazar enthused. They followed the raft on its way. They were keen to see how far it would go. Suddenly, the sky turned dark. The boys did not know what to do.
Oh dear, where are we?
Asked Balthazar.
I don't know. We seem to have wandered away from our forest,
Stanley stated.
Let's turn back before it starts to rain,
the bee said with concern.
Okay, wait, I'll bring the raft,
said Stanley, but the little boat had vanished from view.
Leave it. You can build another raft.
They had only taken a few steps when the storm broke.
How will we get home now?
Balthazar panicked.
Grab my feet and I'll fly you both home,
said a voice from above. The boys looked up and saw Christopher Canary. They took a firm hold of his feet. They were making very good progress until a sudden gust of wind blew Christopher off course. Stanley and Balthazar both fell, but thankfully landed on a soft mossy carpet.
Let's shelter in that hole,
said Stanley, pointing to a tree. They waited and waited for the storm to pass, but slowly fell fast asleep. And there they slept until they were woken by Spider.
Wake up! What happened to you two? Are you all right?
The worried Spider asked.
Come on, the storm's over and the rain's nearly stopped. Climb onto my back and we'll go to my cave. Then I'll happily take you home.
Thank you,
the tired boys said, and they hopped onto Spider's back. Meanwhile, the sun came out and a rainbow stretched across the sky. They soon arrived at the cave. Spider gave them dry towels and treated them to a snack of wafer biscuits and hot tea. Later, when they were fed and rested, they set off home again. Spider carried them both back, and they thanked him for his help. The next morning, Christopher the Canary tapped on Stanley's window.
Good morning. I just wanted to check that you are both okay.
The bird tweeted. We were very worried about you too. We're fine. It started out as a boring day, but then it got a little too adventurous, the stag beetle chuckled. Balthazar and Stanley went back to the riverbank the next day. Should we make a raft? Stanley laughed as he asked his pal. Yes, but let's not follow it. If it floats away, it floats away, said Balthazar.
The Water Snail. Berry, Dolly, Flutter and Balthazar were sitting around in the meadow. I wish I had a cousin too, a distant snail relative, Berry sighed. But you've got a sort of cousin, Berry. The water snail is a kind of snail, Flutter the butterfly said. Really? Berry jumped to his feet with a grin. Where does this water snail live? Nowhere, Balthazar retorted. I don't think there's such a thing as a water snail. Oh, yes, there is. I know where he lives. He's got a little house deep down in the round pond on the other side of the forest. You're talking nonsense, the bee said. Why don't we go down to the round pond to see for ourselves? Come with me. I'll take you, Hedgehog Harry told his friends. We can be there before it gets dark. Hooray, Berry whooped. I'll bring the air tank so we can swim down to the bottom of the pond. Berry, Dolly, Flutter and Balthazar hopped into the hedgehog cart and set out for the round pond. It was late in the evening by the time they finally caught sight of the pond. The cart's running away, the little bee shouted, but it was already too late. The hedgehog cart rolled right into the water. Berry, Dolly, Balthazar and Flutter all started crying. It's too late to do anything today. Let's go to bed, and tomorrow you can all swim down to the bottom of the pond. I'm sure you'll find the cart, Harry comforted them. Berry woke up bright and early the next morning. Look, the water lily has opened its petals and there's someone standing on its leaf and he's waving at us. Who are you? Berry asked politely. Hello, everybody. My name's Sam Snail and I live deep down at the bottom of the round pond. See, Balthazar, water snails do exist after all. I've got my own proper cousin now. Sam Snail didn't understand why Berry was so happy to see him. But then Dolly told him why they had come. I'm so happy to meet you, Cousin Berry, the water snail said. Would you help us find our cart that rolled into the water, Sam? Flutter asked. I'd be delighted. Follow me, the water snail said. So the four friends slipped into their swimming costumes and swam all the way down to the bottom of the pond. This is where I live, Sam Snail announced with pride. They heard a frightening hissing sound that scared Berry, Dolly, Flutter and Balthazar, who hid behind the house. Don't be scared. It's my friend the Water Snake. Water Snake, have you seen a cart at the bottom of the pond by any chance? Hang on to me and I'll take you there. There it is, the Water Snake hissed. Berry, Dolly, Balthazar and Flutter were happy they'd found it. "You did it," said Harry. He was so happy to see his little friends again. "Let's go for a trip on the pond," Sam Snail suggested. They all sat on the lily pad and Sam Snail started rowing. "It's time we were going," Dolly said when it began to get dark. "Oh, let's stay a little longer," Berry pleaded. "We'll come again another day," Flutter reassured the little snail. Harry Hedgehog was already waiting for them. Berry, Dolly, Flutter and Balthazar all said goodbye to Sam Snail and headed for home. The next day, Berry and Dolly both painted colourful pictures of their distant cousins. The Sandcastle. On a sunny summer day, Berry, Dolly, Bubble and Balthazar put on their swimming costumes, grabbed their buckets and spades, and set out for Sand Island to build castles.
Look at this huge watermelon,
Balthazar said in surprise. "Oh, let's take it with us," Berry suggested. "Then we can all have a feast at the end of the day." "OK, Berry, we'll take it." Berry, Dolly, Balthazar and Bubble carefully rolled the watermelon in front of them as they walked along. But when the friends got to the top of the hill, the round watermelon started to roll away down the slope. "Stop it!" Dolly shouted to the others. Bubble pounced on the watermelon, but he couldn't stop it. The baby beetle slipped off and bumped his head. The juicy watermelon just carried on rolling down the side of the hill. They all ran after it as fast as they could, but the watermelon was much faster than all of them. Then a terrible thing happened. The watermelon smashed into a sharp rock. "Our lovely watermelon smashed into pieces," Dolly moaned.
Oh, the watermelon!
Balthazar was very sad too. "Why are you all complaining? Let's eat it instead," the baby beetle suggested. So the four friends sat down and started to munch on the watermelon. They ate the sweet red fruit until their tummies were full. "We'd better hurry to Sand Island, or there'll be no time left to build sandcastles."
Dolly, wait for me. I'll fly with you,
Balthazar said. "Me too," Bubble added. "But I can't fly. Are you three going to leave me here?" Berry asked with a sad sob.
Let's build boats out of the watermelon rind. This way Berry can sail to the island with us,
Balthazar suggested. They selected 4 strong pieces of melon rind. 1 for Dolly, 1 for Berry, 1 for Balthazar and 1 for Bubble. They made the masts out of strong branches and the sails out of large leaves. When they were done, they launched the little boats on the water, and the wind quickly carried them away to Sand Island. "Hooray! We're sailing," Berry said with an excited squeak. They all got to Sand Island with plenty of time left to play.
Look! Someone's coming! And he's got a bucket in his hand.
Indeed, there was a cheerful beetle walking towards them on the sandy shore. "Who are you?" Dolly asked. "I'm Sean, the sand beetle. I live here and was about to build a sandcastle."
Really?
Balthazar asked.
Can we join you?
"Of course you can. Let's all build together," Sean said with joy. The 5 of them built a grand sandcastle with all kinds of tunnels, towers and bridges. Now all it needs is a flag on top, Dolly said. So she drew a picture of Sean on a leaf and stuck it in the very top of the castle. That looks super! Does that mean it's my sandcastle now? Sean said enthusiastically. When the sun went in, Dolly and her friends said goodbye to Sean and headed home. Good night, King of the Castle! Dolly shouted, waving goodbye to their new friend.